Patreon, going strong. If you want to go over there and join in on the fun, we got 3 tiers on Canadian dollars. First tier is $3 a month, where you get these episodes ad free. You also get AMAs once a month, or learn about me episodes once a month. And then on the second tier, which is $5 a month, you get everything from the first tier, as well as coverage of a reality show of yesteryear. That's right now Jersey Shore, currently in season 3. You can also go to the main feed, where there will be the first episode of every season released there, so you can try that before you head over to the Patreon. And then on the third tier, you get everything from the first 2 tiers, as well as coverage from a true crime documentary. We got the backlog of Ashley Madison documentary, Man with 1,000 Kids, Into the Fire, Lacey Peterson, and again, all those episodes for the first episode of each is in the main feed, so you can try that before you head over. So if you are interested, you can head over to patreon.com/realityt times 2, and you can sign up for whichever tier you feel for. Again, you can try before you buy, which basically means you can try any tier for a week before committing to it. Even if you are on other tier, if you are on tier 1 or the first tier and you want to go over to the second tier, you could still try that second tier for a week before committing to the upgrade. So again, that is at patreon.com/realityt times 2. And of course, the link is in the show notes, website, social media accounts. It's all available there. This episode is ad-free on the Patreon. So if you want to partake in that, you can head on over to patreon.com/realityt times 2. Welcome to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I'm Tanika, and today we are going to be doing a special episode discussing what's gone on so far on Below Deck Med. So we'll basically just be focusing on the cast for the most part, because there's so much I have to say. Not really going to focus too much on the guests, except for one. We'll wait till we get to that, though. I'll save him for last. Or maybe I'll talk about him now. The one guest, what was his name? Joseph, I think was his name, who was like nagging on Nathan and this and that. Oh, I spent $55,000 on her apartment. Good luck to you. She doesn't want to be anywhere around me. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, let me get a new date out here. Oh my God. We won't let me use the what you call them? The toy, whatever toy it was. Yeah, because you're drunk. Um, he was such a jerk, but at the end of it, he was nice. He was actually nice. Him and Nathan made up, and he was nice. Who knew? And that was the tip. $50,000 tip. Wow. That is crazy. That is a crazy tip, and that has to be the most. That's so incredible. Anyways, moving on from that, let's talk about the crew and who we've got here. I want to start with the chef, Joy. She is fantastic. Her food looks good. She seems like a nice person, but a woman who doesn't take bullshit and will mess your world up if you mess with her. I freaking love her. I freaking love her. She is my favorite person besides Aisha, because we know how I feel about my Aisha. I absolutely love her. But yeah, besides Aisha, like, she's my favorite person. I absolutely adore her. I think she's the best, and I think she needs to be like an added person for the long term. I love her. Anyways, so she's level-headed. She's been through things, whatever. She's got a good on her head on her shoulders, knows her worth. Perfect. Let me go out to the deck. So we have Nathan. He's back as bosun. Gail is actually renting out a place in the area with their new baby, and he's 9 months at this, or not 9 months, sorry, 9 weeks at the time. And this is basically like he'll be doing charters, and then he'll go and stay with Gail on the off nights, and seems to be going good. Now we find out that him and Joe haven't really spoken to each other since their last charter. Joe is here again. So much so that, like, he's coming at him saying, like, I get that, like, they don't necessarily vibe with each other now. They're in different times of life now than they were when they first met. Um, and I also understand, like, he didn't like how V was treated, and I get it. I agree. But, like, you can handle the friendship in such a way where it's like, listen, I don't agree with everything you do. I don't align with everything you do. But, like, you can still accept them for them. You know what I mean? I do think Nathan was being a little harsh with Joe, and I do think that Joe was being underhanded at times. Like, for example, when Nathan crashed the boat. Yeah. Whose fault was that? Was it the loud music or was it Nathan? Was the fact that he couldn't hear Sandy? Who knows? But if it was Joe, he never would have happened. So, there's a lot of that going on. And he also, like, at one point, if you remember, on one of the off nights, that, like, Joe basically is just talking to one of them. I can't remember who it was exactly he was talking to, and he mentions, like, "Oh, yeah, me and Gail don't get along," and, like, he didn't say anything bad. He didn't say anything bad about Gail, and it's true, they don't. And just the fact that Joe mentioned Gail's name set Nathan off, and he's like, "Don't ever mention her name again, blah, blah, blah." He's just going off, like, "Keep Gail's name out of your mouth," and whatever. And it's like, but he didn't do anything. He didn't say anything. He just spoke a fact and said, "Me and her don't get along, and I don't know why that is," and that's that. Like, I didn't say anything wrong. But Nathan's so in his head that he can't see past that. And in the interim, him to come back on board and everything. If you remember, he did appoint Joe as lead deckhand in the last charter, last season. And he basically is just like, "Listen, I don't want to appoint him as my lead deckhand. I don't trust him." And he wants to potentially give it to one of the other guys. So that's where we're going to introduce the other guys. We have, oh shoot, what's his name again? I literally just had it there and it's gone now. Um, uh, Cole Connor, one of the two. He, he's very sweet, very green, and he's a Southern boy, but I can't remember exactly where he's from in the States, but he's very sweet. Very, very, very sweet. Very, very green. So green that he doesn't know how to drive a tender. So, like, I'm sorry, but I kind of feel like you need your lead deckhand to be able to drive the tender. You know what I mean? And he's trying to make Connor Cole, whatever his name is, happen so that he doesn't have to appoint Joe. Then we have our other deckhand. His name is Luke. He's the oldest one here. He's still pretty green, not as green as the other guy. I think his name's Connor. But anyways, he's not as green as him, and but he's still green, and he is, I believe, South African. So he seems like he would be nice enough, right? He seems like he would be level headed because he's 35 years old, right? Wrong. He is messy as fuck. But let me just finish up with Nathan real quick here with Joe. He does eventually appoint Joe as the lead because that's the only That's the only thing that makes sense here. The other thing too is that particular day when Nathan went off on Joe, he had just found out that his mom, who we know, we've seen him how many seasons now, he's close with his mother. We just saw him have a phone call with his mother where he was being told that she had breast cancer. So, wow, a lot is going on for him. And I'm happy that Nathan went the right way and appointed him as lead. That can't, there was no other solution. Anyways, let's go back to Luke first for, for now. So, Luke is trouble. Luke is, yeah, no. Just no. That's no. So he seems to have like a thing for Joy because, oh, she speaks French and I'm trying to learn French and I love France and this and that. And he is into her. I don't know if he's into her for any reason besides how it could benefit him, but he says he's into her, whatever. But he is also into another one. Now we're heading over into the interior, and that is Jen. Oh, oh boy. Jen is annoying. Jen can get off my screen. Jen is too much. 9 times out of 10. Jen is too much. She is young. She's, I believe, 24. She's young. She's like, I went to school with celebrities, kids, and stuff like that. And they're not the famous ones. I don't care. Anyways, so she's saying that and saying that she's never felt like she's made her parents proud of her and all of this nonsense, whatever. Only child syndrome, I guess. Who knows? But yeah. So she's gunning in that case is gunning for Chief Stew, not Chief Stew. Sorry, Second Stew. Um, and that's what she's gunning for. And we'll stop there for a second because then we meet um what was her name again? Can't remember her name. Can't remember her name, but Blondie number one. Um, she's sweet as pie. She's maybe fairly green to yachting. However, she does have the interior background. So she actually worked in hospitality since she was 17. So I mean, she might have this. So might have a chance of being second to herself. And she's doing the tablescapes and all of this. And obviously making Jen feel away. So ultimately though, what I can say in Chief Stew, the second stew is given to Blondie number one. So that is who gets the Chief Stew. And obviously Jen is pissed. Here she is again playing second choice, or not a second. And yeah, she didn't take it well. And she even goes as far as to kind of be like, hey, I just want the department to filter because like your second stew, getting her all in her head and shit. Anyways, she gets over it and thinks, you know what? This might have been for the best. Because now I can focus on Luke and getting to know Luke. So, they're being cutesy and stuff like that. We also don't forget he's also into Joy. So I think what ends up happening, I can't remember if it was this particular night or a different night, but what ends up happening is they're going out clubbing. He's trying to talk to both of them. Of course, Jen doesn't want anything about that because I've been cheated before in my past, and like, I just don't want that to happen again. And it's like, ma'am, you're not with him. It's not cheating, it's him exploring his options, seeing what's good. I don't know. Because where she's talking, while he's sorry, talking to to Joy, Janice kind of comes in and is like, sorry, Joy, I'm so sorry to interrupt you. Bitch, if you don't, like, get off my screen. So, anywho's, so ultimately, he focuses on Jen. They go into his room. As again, preface, Nathan is not here. Nathan is with Gail and the baby. So he shares a room with Nathan. What the space does. He shares a room with her. So with him. He shares a room with him. And they fuck. Okay. They fuck to the point where the whole boat must have heard it. And Joe's actually in the kitchen in the quarters, and he is like smirking because we all know what's happening here. So she ends up sleeping in Nathan's bed. This brought me back to the good old days of Jersey Shore when Angelina had Chris from in season 2 sleeping in Mike's bed. Didn't go so good. So I'm literally having flashbacks of that and thinking, that's not good. Bad idea. So she sleeps in the bottom bunk, Nathan's bunk. Next morning, my guy crawls down to her in Nathan's bed. She very clearly is giving him a handy, and he just kaprumps all over Nathan's bed. Disgusting. Okay. So they say, okay, we're going to get the sheets washed before Nathan gets back. It's be fine. The whole day goes by. Not a sheet in sight that's being washed. Not a sheet. Nope. Nathan goes and sleeps in 7 sheets, of which Luke has sprunk all over his bed. And you see it, like you see the stain, and they blur it out because there's the bloop, 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 bloop in his bed. Okay. So he's sleeping on top of someone else's jizzy. Okay. So next day comes, still nothing, not a shit. No one's saying, hey, maybe we should get those sheets washed. No. Mm-mm. And the thing is Jen has actually told Katie, bless her heart, she's a sweetie pie. We'll talk about her in a second. And she tells her what happened. And she's mainly in laundry. And she's like, I'm just waiting for the shoes to come. And they haven't come yet. So, like, I don't know. Meanwhile, she's sleeping on another man's lumperlook in his bed. And here's the thing. This is disgusting. You could blame my mother for this one. This is disgusting. Anyways, how does Nathan not know? How does Nathan not see it? Because listen, I've seen the cum stain once or twice in my lifetime. That shit, when it dries on brighter colors like white, it's not going to dry white. No. It dries yellow. Okay? It's disgusting. Y'all are disgusting. But that's what it does. So are you really trying to tell moi that he wouldn't notice that? Then not to mention, we all know the distinct smell of Gucci. We all know. It smells like chlorine in a sense, kind of. You know? How do we miss that as well? I don't get it. Meanwhile, your boss is sleeping in your dead babies while you're not even getting it washed. It is by far nastiest. And the thing is, going back to Joy for a second, is she knows that stuff happened. She's figuring it's only making out. But more on that in a minute. So he is like, I've made a terrible mistake twice. I made a mistake and I don't think this is it. She ain't it. So what am I going to do? I am going to let her down gently and I'm going to go and try to mend fences with Joy. Joy don't want you. Joy don't want nothing to do with you. And he's going so far as to mend fences by washing the galley, washing the pots and stuff. Sir, if you just don't give up. She don't want you. She don't need you. She don't even like you. Like, seriously. So, Jen is seeing all of this and is getting jealous and the whole bit. And she's fucking crazy. She literally, so after guests go to bed, she stays awake until she knows that Luke Taz is going to get up. She stayed up that late, okay, just so she could see him. And that is crazy behavior. Just want to point that out, okay, in case no one knows. That's crazy freaking behavior. But she does that. First of all, says, oh, the guests, they just went to bed. No, they didn't. They've been in bed. They've been in bed. Anyways, he's trying to let her down, see. He's going the Joel route. You South African men need to stop, okay? Anyways, he's going that route and he's just like, listen, I just don't want to hurt her. I don't want this to blow up the season or anything like that. But essentially, he tells her that, this ain't it. This isn't right for me. Triangle, triangle no more. It's done. And she's interpreting this conversation as, oh, you really do want to be with me. You really want to make this work. Okay, great. That's not what he said, nor what he meant, nor what he wants. But one will take what they'll get. So, yeah, so they're on the same page. To me, she equivalents the, well, I don't know, what would better describe the movie? Boiling a bunny. Yeah. This girl will boil your goddamn bunny and said, eat on this bitch. You know what I mean? This bitch will do that. This bitch will single white female the shit out of everything. This is what she's capable of doing. Just saying. So not a good idea. She's going to prison. But yeah, she will boil your bunny. She is, I will not be ignored. Dan, except it's Luke, but you get my drift. She ain't about this. So, anyways, she thinks we're on the same page up until they go out that night. This most past episode, and he's sitting by Joy. Aisha and Nathan got involved to kind of help it along. And hi everyone. So I have something new for you. This is Noble Dutch. So just a quick little thing about them. They make high quality, plant-based and convenient food that fuel your body and fits your routine. Whether you're juggling work, family, fitness, or personal goals, they make sure that you always have access to wholesome, gluten-free meals that, of course, you can trust. So, they have basically meals that you can get that are tasty, healthy, and ready in just 8 minutes. And again, it's vegetarian, it's gluten-free, and it's packed with 11 grams of protein. Yes, please. They have some meals, for example, like the instant jasmine rice and tomato sauce. And again, that's ready in 8 minutes. And it comes in 12 bowls, a carton, and it contains ingredients like jasmine rice, tomato sauce, chili oil, soya chunks, carrot and peas, and a spoon in case you need that as well. So basically, it's quick and easy. You would pour that jasmine rice and the carrots and those peas into a bowl, and then you would add boiling water up to the marked line inside of that bowl. Close the lid and let it sit for 8 minutes. And then you would open, add the needed amount of tomato sauce and chili oil into that bowl, stir, and enjoy. Very simple, very easy. So, you can earn Dunch points with every meal. You can basically get a point per dollar that you spend. You can get 60 free birthday Dunch points, and you can get 50 points per referral when you refer a friend as well. And that all kind of adds up. So if you're interested in that and you want to take part in this, you can head over to my link that helps support not only Noble Dunch, but also supports the podcast. And that is going to nobledunch.com/HEKVNLEC. And that link will also be in the show notes. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of start some stuff over. So, but yeah, he does have the conversation with her, with Jen, about, in, like I said, Joao fashion, that he just, there's no triangle. He doesn't want a triangle. And she's taking it, which it's not crazy that she's thinking this way, but she's taking it as, oh, you don't want to deal with Joy no more. You just want to deal with me. Yay. Well, that's not what he's saying. He's literally saying, without saying, that he only wants to deal with Joy. He doesn't want to deal with Jen no more. And so, anyways, they finished. He's like, I'm not gonna blow it up anymore. There's guests here on the boat. Like, I'm gonna leave it be for now. So when they go to the the dinner portion of the night, when they're on break, he basically asks Aisha and Nathan, or talks to Aisha and Nathan, about the fact that he wants to try and talk to Joy. Um, because obviously Joy hates him. She doesn't want to deal with him. She thinks, first of all, she thinks that they've only kissed, so she doesn't want to deal with him. So he's trying to get in front of her. So Aisha and Nathan say, "Oh, we'll sit in the middle, and that way we can basically push Jen out, and that way he can have time to speak with Joy." So this is what happens. And he seems to be having a grand old time talking to Joy. And Jen seeing the whole thing. Now, I don't like Jen. Jen annoys me. But I can get how this feels shitty because you have one thought in your mind and he's doing the other. I get it. And so she ends up overhearing Aisha and Nathan kind of be like, we did it. High five. And she's like, what? So she's like, I realize, to give them the benefit of the doubt, they do not know what I know. So she asks to speak with Aisha. She step aside and she's like, I just want to understand like what you and Nathan were talking about. And Aisha tells her, and she's like, okay, well, I don't know if you realize, but me and him were intimate. Like they had sex. Aisha didn't know that. And she's like, oh. She's like, if I knew, I would have never gotten involved. Nathan would have never gotten involved. And she's like, shame shows me not to get involved. So when Luke gets up to use the bathroom, she takes the opportunity, Jen, to follow him and talk to him. So she goes after him and she's like, what the hell is going on? You said that there was no more triangle. What's happening? And he's like, there isn't. I told you there isn't. And basically gaslighting the fuck out of her. And yeah, you said there's no triangle, but technically it excludes her and you didn't tell her. So he's upset about that. Oh, sorry, she's upset about that. And she's like, okay, well, now you're trying to pursue Joy. Does Joy know what you did with me? Like, because she deserves to know. Because again, what men don't realize, girl code, if I've had sex with you and you're pursuing another person that I know and you did me dirty, yeah, I'm gonna go tell her because I know she doesn't know. Yeah, it's just girl code. I don't think she did anything wrong by saying I want to talk to her and tell her the full picture so she knows going into anything if she does. This fucker showed his true ass colors and gets rude with her, is being like, oh, why are you trying to like ruin things basically? Why do you need to tell her? Because he knows if she knows, she's not gonna talk to him. And he's blaming her, Jen, for the reason that Joey won't be into him. No, sir, this is not Jen's fault. Jen didn't do anything wrong. She pursued someone who maybe really wasn't pursuing her, but made it seem he was just so he can get in her pants. And that's a fucked up feeling because when clearly you were always after Joy. But because you can't communicate with Joy because you see a ring on her finger, you decide to go after Jen instead. Like, you know what I mean? He's an idiot. And both of these women don't deserve that. And what I will say though is Jen constantly making her decision making, I guess, about men, about I've never been picked, I've never been number one pick. You gotta pick yourself first. It's clear she doesn't. And I would hope she takes this as a lesson learned. She's young. This is where you know, you fuck around and you find out and you learn. And when she's his age, my age, um, you'll be better and you'll do better. And I hope for that for her. Um, but I hope she does, yeah, take this as a lesson learned. Do not just jump in bed with the first guy who gives you attention. Give him everything because this is what they do. He used her and it's so sad. So anyway, that was an absolute shit show. He decides, okay, I'm gonna have to tell Joy because Jen's gonna tell her, so it's better if it comes from me. So he tells her, and Joy's like, "You're disgusting. You're a muppet," is what she does call him. That's great. You're disgusting. Because no wonder she's acting the way she is. You slept with her. And she's like, I'm good. I'm not dealing with you anymore. And she walks away. And Jen goes to talk to her. And she's like, I don't know what he told you, but I want to be honest with you. And Joey says, no, I know what happened. He told me. And that's the end of that for now. Well, that's the end of the women. In a way to fuck with Luke. In the van ride back to the boat, Jen tells Katie, and Connor, whatever his name is. She tells the two of them, oh, by the way, because again, Katie knows already. Oh, by the way, Luke came down into Nathan's bed the next morning and he blunked in his bed. And he's like, oh, I wish you didn't tell me that. So the next day, he tells Joe, by the way, Luke did a front doo-doo in Nathan's bed. And Nathan's been sleeping in it for 3 days. Like, it only was getting washed the day before. Okay? So, yep. Anyway, so he basically says, I don't feel comfortable blowing the boat up, but like, I'll leave it with you. He's like, Ducky, I'll leave it with you. And Joe's like, I have to tell him. Like, I can't not tell him. So Joe, being a friend, they're friends again, y'all. It's so cute. A friend goes to Nathan and says, so Luke made a little deposit on your bed and you've been sleeping in it for the past 3 days. Let me preface, he's sick right now. Now, it could be anything, but the fact that he's the only one sick and no one else is, he's sick couldn't go to be with Gail. Gail literally having a breakdown the night before because postpartum, you know what I mean? It's hitting her and she feels alone and she needs him. I get it, right? She's gonna be okay, everybody. But in that moment, it feels like the world's coming to an end. And he can't be there to support her physically because he's sick and he's trying to protect his son. Meanwhile, he could be sick because of Luke. So when he finds this out, he's pissed. And he starts making these little jabs at Luke, and Luke realizes, fuck, he knows. And Luke is like, how did he find out? Joe says, I had to tell him, you made him sleep in those sheets and you didn't say anything. You didn't do anything. I had to tell him. And Luke, without even thinking, literally says, well, why? Why'd you have to tell him for? This guy is unreal. He's a shit human. Honestly, he's a shit human. And Nathan is just getting madder and madder as the day goes on. And he's thinking about it. And he's like, you didn't even apologize. You didn't say anything to me. You have no remorse. Like, he has no remorse. And he said, you piss me off at any point you're in this charter. It's your job. I will pack your bags. You're leaving. Because he was kind of fucking up a little bit because of this nonsense between him, Jen, and Joy. So he's like, if you fuck up, you piss me off even with just a smidge, you're out of here. He's like, do you want me to tell Captain Sandy? Spoiler alert. He's going to tell her in the next episode. Damn. Anyways, y'all, that's the episode. Next thing I'll be dropping is another 90-day episode once I finish it. But that is it for me, y'all. That is it for this episode. If you liked what you heard, bear with me because I have not done an outro for the podcast in quite some time. So bear with me here. So if you liked what you heard, you can go to any of your favorite podcast apps. You can like, follow, make sure you don't miss a single episode. And you can also rate the podcast at either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It'd be greatly appreciated. As a reminder, any 5-star ratings that are given to the podcast or any comments that are given to the podcast will be read on the podcast, which I have done in the past. If you want to connect with the podcast through social media, you can find me at Facebook and Instagram at Reality T ×2. You can also find me at Twitter, TikTok, and Blue Sky at Reality ×2 Pod. I believe you can email me at realityt2@hotmail.com, and you can have any inquiries, anything like that, any ideas, any shows or episodes you want me to cover, you can definitely do that over there. And I am going back to our old website, and that is at solo.to/reality T ×2. There you can get any of the links to anything that I didn't mention here, any of the socials, website, email, all of that. It's all there for you. And we also have a new thing there where you can help support the podcast as well. It's called a tip jar. And you can tip whatever your heart's desire if you want to support the podcast, but don't want to necessarily support the podcast in going to Patreon, for example, or any of the links in any of the advertisements. You can do it there. But since we're on the topic of Patreon, you can head on over to patreon.com/reality T ×2, where there you can get access to even more than what I do here. There are 3 different tiers where you can get these shows ad free, as well as our next tier up where you would get another reality show that's being covered. So, we have Jersey Shore that's been getting covered. That's still being covered currently at the time of recording of this outro, but the future is bright with what's to come in the future, which I will be discussing, or I have discussed, I don't even know. And then also our next tier is a true crime tier as well. So you can definitely head over for that. But that is basically it. I will also just quickly mention here too, if you're interested in a different take of a podcast that I'm a part of, we do things a little differently. You can head on over to Next Take Podcast, where I usually drop bonus episodes here on this feed, but there you get a lot more. And that podcast is making changes. We're growing, doing new things, but you can definitely head on over there if you want to just hear a little bit different than what I do over here. So you can find that podcast over at our website, solo.to/next take podcast. And there we'll have all the links to your desire that will link you to any of your favorite podcast apps or YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all of it. Social medias, it's all over there. But of course, you can still find that podcast at any of your favorite podcast apps. But that is it for this episode. We'll see you next time with another episode. Bye, everybody.